Dollar Tree's cutting boards can do even more. This is a brilliant hack I want to share with you. And all you're going to need is a Dollar Tree cutting board, Mod Podge, and a heat source. And you will be able to make any board you want. We're going to do, with one board, 3 events. Now, using your Mod Podge and repurposing a label sheet, we are going to create us a printable surface. You can also use freezer paper with the wax coating, but be sure that it is the Reynolds wrap freezer paper. So the next step is to apply the Mod Podge. Now we have to do this in layers and succession. So we'll apply the Mod Podge and make sure you go close to the top and close to the sides and in the area that you are intending on printing in your inkjet printer. That's right. We're going to print on to this sheet. We'll need 3 layers, so you have to be patient. You're going to apply a layer of Mod Podge and allow it to dry in between, so just set it aside. You'll apply another layer and let that dry, and then a 3rd layer and allow it to dry. This is the freezer paper. It has 3 layers, and they've dried in between each, and it's ready to use. And this is what I did. I created these free printables. You'll find the link below. I love fall most of all. I love Christmas most of all. And what we have to do is our layered Mod Podge sheet, loading it into the printer. Go ahead and knock that out. And with most inkjet printers, it commonly is loaded face down into your paper sheet feeder. Now let's go over to the computer. And when you pull up your print, it can be resized, made any size you like. I've designed it that way. And when you go to print it, you want to make sure that it brings up the photograph printable part of your program with your computer. We need a 3.5 by 5 photo size print. So I've got both of these pulled up and I print them at the same time onto my sheet. And order for it to fit the Dollar Tree cutting board that I've selected. Now just be gentle. Take your time and be careful and make sure you kind of lift it up and peel off your printed transfer. And it will literally just pull off. This is very light film, feather light. So just be careful. And voila, we have our heat transferable prints. Now, this you can take and trim it to fit. Make sure your hands are dry. You don't want anything wet around, and make sure you keep it away from your heat source. And trim it to fit. If you want your fabric to fray, you'll need to make it even smaller. But I assure you that if you cut it to the size of your fabric, you will not have to worry about any fray or raveling of your fabric because the Mod Podge will heat seal the fibers. And as you can see here, I'm kind of turning mine around and making sure that I trim off any extra that's hanging over and making sure it fits perfectly on my piece of fabric. I have selected muslin fabric, and I really truly designed these so that you can use them any way you like. Grab you some parchment paper. Make sure it's parchment paper and not wax paper. We're going to transfer this to fabric. You can use a clothing iron. Make sure you turn the steam off and use the hottest heat variable for your fabric. This is the mini iron like the Cricut makes, and I am using it. It's a great heat source, and it is super hot. Take your time. And whatever you do, don't do like me. Do as I say, not as I did. Let the heat rise off first before you remove the parchment paper. It's not going to disturb the print. As you will see, it's fully intact. But when you're pulling on it and you haven't let the heat rise, you're going to get this problem where it's just kind of, hanging to it. And as you see, they're perfectly undisturbed and just magnificent. But as you've seen, I had not gotten the Mod Podge up, the little tiny pieces I trimmed off, and that heat had sealed to the back of them as well. So make sure that you get up any trimmings, and don't forget to remove any extra Mod Podge left on your sheet off because you can reuse it. This is most important. So now you have a reusable sheet. And throw those away. Okay, let's get to creating the cutting boards. Now, as I said, the video is running in reverse because I had already selected burlap to create a pocket on the front of my cutting board, and muslin fabric as the little panel that has the transfer on it. And this little iron is super hot, and it is actually pressing down burlap, and that is a fiber, so pretty hot. And then I cut my muslin to the size I wanted using my crimping shears. We have already did our transfers onto the fabric, so now we get to move on to the next step, which is attaching the fabric transfers. Now I'm going to tell you, these mounting Velcro squares from Dollar Tree are most impressive. Very sticky. The adhesive is not going to come loose from your fabric. And cut them in half. The first one I did that I'm demonstrating here, I actually used a full loop square when I attached it to the burlap, and then I put the fuzzy part I cut in half. You're seeing me attach it here to the back side of my muslin. So you won't need the full hoop. You can just cut it in half just like I did. And I had used the full square when I placed it on to the burlap. So put the loop side on the burlap and then create your labels or your transfers we did here, and use the fuzzy side on it. The great thing about that is you'll be able to store it inside of your burlap pocket once it's attached to the board. And that way, if you create one for many events or seasons or as a gift or special saying, it can be changed out, and these fabric labels, transfers, can be stored into the pocket. So as you see here, I put the squares on there. So here are some ideas that you can use for your cutting board with interchangeable transferred sayings on it. I have made fall and Christmas, and then I did 4th of July. Now, we've got to attach our pocket to the front. So we're going to go ahead and use our hot glue gun for our folds, and that's just to keep them in place so it doesn't ravel. And we're going to glue the sides and the bottom to the cutting board and use the top as a pocket. And this is real easy. It goes really smooth. But some ideas would be to make this a feedback pocket. So grab your thumbtacks. These look great like little jackets, and your needle nose pliers, and cut the points off. And I love this. It looks so rustic, primitive, and modern at the same time, and is just another way to really spruce up and make your pocket on your cutting board look great. Now, I went ahead and Velcroed one of the labels into place so that I could accurately place my little thumbtacks in the corners that look like rivets. And that way I didn't make no mistake. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and punch the button and save this to your playlist because you know you want to make these. Now, I created and designed one with USA on it, since 4th of July, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, and Labor Day are celebrated with the flag. And once again, once the print has been applied to it, let it dry a second, and then very gently pull it away from the sides and top and working it over so that it's ready and prepared, because this is a very thin film. And you can use 4 layers of Mod Podge if you like. I did both. I did 3 layers and I did a 4 layer, and reuse your sheet. Now let's make our florals, or you can place mail in it, or like I said, a pet's leash with their baggies for taking them out and walking them. And this would also be a great for a bank or a church to put the daily testimonials in, or feedback. This would be great for a restaurant where you could put a cute saying and customers could leave feedback cards inside of the pocket. Sky is the limit. And I am so excited to share this DIY with you. I would love to see what you do with yours. What saying are you going to put on yours? Who's going to get this for Christmas this year as a gift? And I always pre-pose and kind of set mine there and stage it. Then I use my floral tape and put my bundles together. So I love Christmas most of all. Was a beautiful arrangement. So I wanted to share with you how you can create you a 4th of July sunflower, more primitive rustic. You'll love it. I'm repurposing the Dollar Tree mat, and I've unstrung it. I'm just pulling my knits away from it. And you'll fold them in half and grab you a mason jar ring, and we're going to make it like a price tag. So you'll double it, put the tails through the loop, and pull it taut. And just fill up and go all the way around your ring. If you use the Dollar Tree mat, such as I did, and unstring it, you can cut it into 3. One strand, you can cut into 3 strands. And that's perfect size because you will still need to trim it down. Once you get all of your ties onto it, grab the lid and some scrap fabric and a little bit of polyfill. And we're going to glue that lid down to this fabric. Use the polyfill so that it will have a fluffy center, and that will be the center of our sunflower. And only glue half of it before you put your polyfill in there, just a FYI. Some of us get in a hurry, such as me. When you put the polyfill in there, now you're ready to glue the rest of it down. Now, I know that the lid and what I've just shown you is too large for the center for it to come all the way through. So you have the option to leave it that way or not. Fluff it out, and I'm sizing it up here. Now, I knew this would be too big. So grab the heavy-duty snips that I tell you about that you can get at your hardware store and cut about an 1/8 or a 1/4 of an inch off all the way around. Whatever you need to make it work. And I say, it's a DIY. It's what we do. We live for it. We love it. It's the greatest thing ever. Piece of cardboard to fill in the gap difference once that's flush inside. Glue your wooden dowel, and then place you a piece of fabric on the back. Now, I didn't take the time to do the entire back. I just grabbed me a piece and put it on there. Once again, this is one of those DIYs where you underestimate it, and then you got to make some alterations and changes. Trim off the flower, make it to fit, and if you like, you can place it in a pocket. I loved it just like this, but my daughter suggested I put some 4th of July florals with it, the red, white, and blue, so I did. And honestly, it looks okay, but I still prefer just the homemade flower, the sunflower there, the big daisy. And the florals look nice too, so perhaps she'll use it another way. This is her birthday gift, and of course I had to make one for the other daughter because she'll have a fit over it, and it'll be her Christmas present. I'm just fluffing out the florals here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, you should, because we do lots of fun things here on this channel, and I would love to hear your feedback and your opinion. And if you haven't already, well, gosh, like the video. I really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. And it lets YouTube know you enjoyed it as well. So here's me changing these out and just showing you the 3 that we created together. I didn't show you how to do the florals for the fall, just in case you might have something else in mind. Share this video with someone who enjoys DIYs and who may enjoy this idea as well. I really appreciate it. You help my channel grow. And I love and adore you all. So here they are. So until the next DIY, this is Elizabeth. I'll be crafting y'all. Bye now.